Hello!
Welcome. Hole in my pants.
Oh.
Don't ask me how I got it. It's my phone. My phone has a hole in my pants. I have the same hole in every pair of pants I have.
You may need a new
The
phone.
older they get. I tried changing the phone case because the one had like a little edge on it, and I'm like, that must be what's doing it. So I changed it out to more of a beveled phone case, and it still rubs holes in my pockets. Maybe slower than it did, but...
Alright, welcome to our 77th episode of Drunk Doctor Who.
The longest one we're going to have, right? We're going like 3 hours tonight.
On 2 episodes.
We have a lot of information to cover. K9 Company.
The Sontaran Experiment.
We have an entire show to cover. We watched the entirety of K9 Company.
Yeah, well,
Can't do that in
one
one
episode.
episode.
Yes, it was one episode.
Oh, hello, welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us once again.
I've already said this.
Oh. Alright, today we watched
the Sontaran Experiment. Alright. This is a 4th Doctor serial. 2 episodes ran from February 22nd, 1975 to March 1st, 1975. The companions were Harry and Sarah. And the antagonists were the Sontarans, namely Steyer. Yeah.
like styrofoam.
Field Marshal Steyer or something
Yes.
like that? Yeah.
Something like that.
Anyway, it's a very short...
No, the Marshal was the one in the spaceship. He was...
was he field commander or something?
Something like that.
Yeah. Anyway, short little 2-parter. The reason that this 2-parter exists...
Right, that's a note. Why
Yeah.
harder?
Okay, so...
They don't normally do that.
They do not normally do that. They do it very occasionally. The first 2-parter we saw originally with Hartnell was the one inside the TARDIS, Edge of Destruction.
Yeah.
They did that because they didn't have budget to do anything or build any sets outside, and they didn't know if the show was going to be canceled.
This one, they built all of Scotland for the set.
Yeah, no. All right, this one was, you had
Little known fact about Scotland, it's actually a film set. All of it.
well, yeah.
They made it to film
Anywhere is all,
Braveheart.
no. Braveheart came much after this.
You know the fiction Braveheart, they made Scotland to film that.
They came much after this. Alright. Tom Baker settles into a 4-4-4-4-4-6. 26 episodes a season. This season's a little weird.
The season finales are normally
6, yeah. This season's a little weird because it goes 4-4-4-2-6-4. The reason for that is they were going to do the 24 episodes. It goes back up to 26. But they decided the Daleks were too popular. So rather than do a 4-part story with the Daleks, they decided to make it a 6-part story towards the last minute.
So it cut off the 2 episodes.
So they took 2 episodes and they said, well, we've got this 4-part story. We'll move it to next season. Or put it behind Genesis of the Daleks.
Mm-hmm.
But now we need a short little 2-part story.
So they custom wrote this on Sontaran Experiment?
They custom wrote it,
It didn't start
to
as a
fit the
4-parter,
schedule.
that's which-
Right, no. It was custom wrote to be short and sweet so that they could give 2 extra episodes to Genesis of the Daleks.
It wasn't very sweet. It's very gruesome, actually.
It's fairly gruesome.
It was all brutal. Very medieval, kind of inquisitionary
Yeah, it's
Fascist
a
kinda-
bit dark.
experiments on humanity.
Yeah, because this one is
I thought it was kind of
4-4-2.
rough for a children's show.
This season is 4-4-2-6-4. It's only 20 episodes.
Oh, so they added up.
Yeah, but after this, they settle into 26 episodes.
So next week, the Genesis of the Daleks, that's our 6-parter.
Yeah.
Which really should have been the season finale, but then they put a 4-part serial on it.
Yeah, so amazing. And like I said, this continues the directness of this particular season where
Like
it's
one
immediate into the next one,
feeds
immediate into the
into
next
another,
one,
yeah.
immediate into the next one. They beam down and they're there on the ground and immediately the story begins. And
An
it's,
adventure.
yeah, just
Into that, they
exactly
beam back
directly
up.
from the last one, yeah.
Like Star Trek.
Not at all.
Alright, about that hit me. Beat me up, Scotty.
Alright,
The red shirts died.
I'm glad no one's wearing a red shirt in this. Okay, so anyway, short and sweet serial. And so we watched K9 and Company a girl's best friend along with it.
Best show ever, by the way. Really good intro theme. Yeah.
He's lying. Okay.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Sarah Jane Smith just looking like she's made a horrible mistake in every scene. And then they didn't have enough B-roll, so they keep coming back to the same shots.
The intro, not the story. The story's actually pretty decent.
It was really good.
But yeah, we will talk about that. Now, this is the front cover for The Invisible Enemy, which is the story where K-9 actually comes in. You haven't seen K-9 in the main show. You've only seen K-9 in this.
I thought you were holding the K-9 and Company.
It is. They also include as a special feature on this K-9 and Company. No, it's not its own release. It's included as a special feature on this on a separate disc.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So anyway, you'll eventually meet K-9 when we watch The Invisible Enemy.
I like K-9.
Yeah, K-9's great.
He shoots lasers at people.
Yeah, it's awesome.
He's kind of like R2-D2 if you gave him a gun.
Yeah. All right. I can see that. And we'll talk about this a bit as well. Getting K-9 a bit out of order, but this is the best time to do it without just doing it on its own because this episode's 45 minutes. The other two episodes are 22 minutes each. There wasn't another good time to do it.
It's pretty well paced, yeah.
Yeah, for Tom Baker.
It was a perfect time.
Yeah. All right.
It's a precursor. It's a teaser.
A teaser.
Yeah.
All right. So they get down to the planet.
Did we say what we were drinking today?
Yeah. I just had the same thought.
The same thing
All right.
we drink every week.
No, I'm drinking Captain Morgan's Spiced Rum.
I'm drinking Twisted Tea.
Yeah. I'm out of Bag with Flame, so I'm drinking this.
I really thought I'd try something new today. I'm like, I'm gonna change it up. I want to start bringing something new to the podcast every week, and then
Should have stopped and gotten a Ravi Rita.
I'd get those sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
If I get one of those, I might not be okay to drive home at the end.
Oh, we have a guest room. It's okay.
Every time I get one of those, they're like, how many shots? 10 shots? 4 shots? Extra shot? I'll give you an extra shot for free.
I love
here's
that.
one to take home.
Ravi's
like,
great. Love that. Love that whole
family.
family, the father, the
Really
wife, the daughter.
Support your local businesses.
Yeah. And we got around here called Ravi's Liquor, and they make Ravi Ritas, and they're pretty good. Mm-hmm. My wife loves them.
I usually stay stocked on Twisted Teas because they're just really good.
Mm.
I was planning on shaking out, bringing a Jack and Coke back to the set, making it classy, have a smoking jacket. Ran out of time.
Pipe, yeah. All right.
I ran out of time.
Okay, so in this, like I said, short and sweet, they go down to the planet, Dr. Harry and Sarah Jane.
Yeah, from
the Transmat beam.
Nerva Space Station.
That's the Ark in space we had last year.
They're beamed down to Earth because there was a problem with the
transmatter beam, and so
it could only do 3 at a time.
Right. Well, the doctor was then trying to fix it.
Mm-hmm. So the people in the space station, Nerva, they're the real elite class, right?
Yeah.
They chose themselves as biologically
chosen,
perfect descendants of the human race. And
well, the combination of all their genes meant that they could represent a great mixing of the human race. So
unless you're black, because there's no black people.
What is there now?
They all just seemed like Europeans, like very elitist.
Well, okay.
I don't think that was intended.
They're working with British actors, and yes, there are black people in Britain, but
they kind of made their own diction, their own speech, and they called the other colonists, what do they call them? Derivatives or something?
Oh, regressives.
Regressives.
Yeah.
No, so we get to see the regressives in this one, the other colonists.
Oh yeah, the people who went out and actually made colonies over the last 10,000 years. Yeah. But yeah, no. We're just going to have to assume that the other races to make the best mix of humanity were in the other pods that were not unfrozen. Because we only saw like 5 people.
They still seem very high and mighty. No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Well, I mean, okay, to be fair, let's assume that this is a British or an American
because what a great opportunity
setup.
To get rid of like so many diseases. They're like, can I make it onto the space shuttle, the Ark? And they're like, do you have a peanut allergy? And they're like, maybe. And they're like, no, we don't want you in our society.
That's eugenics, and that's been tried before, and it's generally speaking not good. But I mean,
that's the kind of impression I got from them with them calling the other people.
To be fair, you're probably right.
It's kind of the air they gave off.
Yeah, there's a movie called Gattaca.
I haven't seen it.
Okay. We've already added like 3 movies to the movie list today. I don't know if I want to add that, but
I haven't actually added. I only added The Wicker Man. I think it was.
okay, add the others. But
Terminator, The Thief and the Cobbler is my
Terminator 2, Thief and the Cobbler, and add Gattaca. All right.
How do you spell Gattaca?
Gattaca. Gattaca.
Two T's.
Yeah, 2 T's.
With a C?
Yes, ICA. Okay. Fantastic movie about in the future where you have...
We gotta catch up on that.
Right. Yeah, we may take a few weeks off to catch up on movies.
Could have a double feature night.
Yeah, we should. But anyway, so there's... In the future, there are people who are genetically manipulated to be perfect. They are the ruling elite class. They are the ones who get to go into space. They're the ones who get to do all the big jobs.
They kind of made a movie like that recently with, it wasn't Brad Pitt, was it? Keep going, I'll think.
Right. So anyway, this movie had...
Mark Wahlberg. And he works in a factory and he gets beamed with radiation and he's dying. But they have their elite class space hotel circle off planet. And they keep having immigrants trying to get to the space hotel and they get deported back to Earth where all the factories are.
Is that Elysium?
Maybe. It's fairly new. It came out just a few years ago.
Maybe Elysium. So anyway, in Gattaca, if you are very structured class strata society, kind of like ancient India, but so the people who are born normally or not genetically made, they can never ever ascend to the heights. Okay, no matter how good they are. And this movie has
Isn't that
Ethan.
Miami, the Heights?
No, I don't know.
That's a hotel.
No, but this movie has Ethan Hawke in a great role and another good role by Uma Thurman. And classic sci-fi. It's very classic sci-fi,
Like a
even though it's
slow
done in the 90s, because it's a very slow burn. Very slow burn. Much like things like Soylent Green and Rollerball and Fahrenheit 451. And
like when the high school insults your mother,
2001.
but the joke had several layers to it, so it slowly burns. You're like, what did he call him?
Not exactly.
It takes you a minute to think about it.
It's a slow burn. Like classic sci-fi, not the modern sci-fi where you have Transformers flying all over the place like crazy. Alright, anyway.
Back when story mattered in sci-fi. And it was
when the idea was
and
what you needed. Yeah. It was the idea. Nowadays, you also need character development and action.
Matrix 4 is coming out.
Christmas, yeah. I think December 18th or something like that. Have you seen the trailer?
Yeah. Did you?
Yes.
I'm excited. I didn't think I'd be excited about the trailer, but it looks...
don't know what to make of it.
I mean, but me either.
I'm going to see it because I'm so curious. I want to know where they're going with this.
Here's my position: is I'm really open-minded because I liked Matrix 3, and a lot of people did not like Matrix 3. So me liking Matrix 3, I might be up for anything. I think I like something experimental and out of left
true.
field.
I'm curious, but there's only one Wachowski. The other Wachowski's not doing it.
Yeah. They still have like licensing, but they're not directing. It's Lauren or I don't know their names.
Yeah, it used to be the Wachowski brothers, and that's the Wachowski sisters.
But now it's just the one Wachowski.
They both went over.
Weird how twins have like the,
Were they twins?
Like, I thought so. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I never heard they were twins, but okay, cool.
I'm just speaking out.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know why I assumed that they were twins.
But the trailer looks interesting. I'm very curious to see what they do with it.
I like the whole Alice in Wonderland undertone.
Oh, the whole thing. Yeah. The whole White Rabbit song by Jefferson Airplane.
It's good.
Which is fantastic. And I'm like, ooh. And
it's very confusing too, because it's like episode 3 didn't set up for 4 at all.
Well, no, it was the end of the trilogy.
Yeah. So Neo's back. The pills are back. We don't know what's going on.
Well, yeah, and they keep him. They keep him in the Matrix in that alternate reality with the blue pill.
Yeah, that's what
which I love because that's the modern day political.
Yeah. You notice his therapist has the bright blue glasses that look like the blue pills.
It's Neil Patrick Harris, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. I love this guy.
I like Neil Patrick Harris.
He's great. He was great in
How I Met Your Mother.
Yes, he was great in How I Met Your Mother, and he was absolutely great in the Harold and Kumar movies.
And when he's the doctor, what was that one? When he was like 14, his first show.
Oh, I don't know.
Doogie Howser.
Okay, I never watched that. Never seen an episode, but I like him as an adult. But anyway, so we'll go see Matrix 4. That'll be cool.
We have a few movies to catch up on. Matrix 4, Dune. We're gonna watch the new Dune.
And this Sunday we're gonna watch Prisoners of the Ghostland for my birthday. Yes. My birthday is Sunday.
Happy birthday, Hatter.
Yay. I will be 53.
Daggum.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
And my grandmother doesn't think I'm old. And we'll do a podcast the day after my birthday, next Monday. And it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. I'll be 53 then. But we're going to go see, I rented out of the theater. And we're going to go see Prisoners of the Ghostland on Sunday.
Of all the
premiere.
movies to watch when you rent out a theater, you chose a Nick Cage film to have the experience.
Well, it's Sunday night, so it's bad movie night.
There you go.
This could be a great
Either way.
movie, it could be a bad movie, I don't know, but it looks entertaining as all get out, so.
Kind of like a Sucker Punch film.
Kinda, it seems a bit more Mad Maxy.
Yeah.
But it looks like some, well, actually, maybe a little more Six String Samurai-ish.
I haven't seen that one.
It's a really good bad movie about a post-apocalyptic world where Elvis was made king because Las Vegas is the biggest city still standing.
I would vote for him.
And set in like the 80s or something, or 70s or 80s, Elvis is made king, but then Elvis dies, as he did. And you have, who's the guy that sang? And you have Buddy Holly making his way to Las Vegas to take the crown.
Buddy Holly's the main character of the...
Yeah. It's a very weird movie, and it stars...
Who plays Buddy Holly?
I don't remember, but it has this really weird, obscure, fun group in it. Oh man, what's
Marky
it
Mark and the
called?
Funky Bunch?
No. They all have big hair with the little points on it, and big shoes with the points on it. Something of St. Petersburg.
The Beatles?
No.
That's like a Japanese hairstyle when your hair is like that pompadour that comes out like that.
Right. And they all have these giant, weird, pointy pompadours. And the group's like 30 members or something. Hopefully I'll think of it during the podcast.
That's a good group.
They're in that movie. Weird movie, fun movie.
Blue Man Group.
And Doctor Who, we're going to have a podcast twice as long as the bloody serial. Okay. Like we did last time. Okay.
Episode 1. They beam down to
Episode
Earth.
1, they beat down to Earth.
The Doctor is surrounded by balls.
Yeah, these spheres about yay big that apparently do the transmat beaming. Harry finds the Doctor.
So do mine.
Yeah,
My balls transmit beams.
that's a whole different video. Okay. So
keep phasing in and out because the balls are...
because the
Little
transmat beam is a
blue,
little odd. So Harry beams in, and they find Sarah, and she's
she beamed upside down.
upside down on she's on the side of the hill.
Her outfits, she's looking like she has the raincoat and the bright red boots and
the yellow, yellow raincoat. It's pretty fun.
The first scene where she's walking up, you can just hear her suit sloshing.
So anyway, the Doctor's like, yeah, I know what the problem is. They're out of phase. Let me fix it. But it's going to take a while to do all these because there's like the big circle, and I think there's several different circles. So Harry and Sarah are like,
yourselves. Get out of there.
yeah, they're like, what are we supposed to do? He's like, well, get out of here. Stop bothering me. So they go off.
Trafalgar Square's that way.
Yeah. There's like, yeah, this is probably, if this is Piccadilly Station, Trafalgar Square should be over there.
But no pigeons, because
No pigeons.
Because the solar flares killed everything.
Yeah, so apparently pretty much all life on the Earth has been wiped out with the solar flares. There don't seem to be hardly any animals.
There are bees because there's still flowers.
There's still flowers.
Is that weird that all flowers can't?
I don't know.
Need to be pollinated, or most flowers need to be pollinated by bees. Which is concerning because bees are like on the watch list of endangered.
Yeah, believe it or not, that comes up in a Doctor Who episode.
Oh.
Much later. The 10th Doctor and Donna run into that as part of the Stolen Earth.
And we don't pay the bees anything for taking their honey. They're not getting a living wage. There's this great bit about, I can't remember his name on Countdown, but he does this bit about how profitable farming is because he doesn't understand where his products come from. He's like, get that freaking sheep, right? You shear it, you sell its wool, grows back again. You get those chickens over there, right? Freaking made of chickens. And they lay eggs. You can sell them freaking A.
What? Okay.
It's a really funny skit.
They kind of sound like it. Okay. Okay. Alright. So anyway, Sarah and Harry walk off. Harry falls down a cliff because it was kind of a trap set. But he's okay. No bones broken.
Very hilly. There's a twisted ankle around every corner. Mm-hmm. We're in the Panhandle, right? The Texas Plains, flat.
We're not quite in the Panhandle. We're in the Southern Plains, but the Panhandle is about 40 miles. Begins about 40 miles north of
Permian Basin, right? The big plains on a flat.
Yeah, Lubbock is very flat.
Yeah.
So flat.
So here's this one scene, right, where they're walking. The guy's tired. He just sits down because there's a hill that's just 90 degrees. He just sits on the wall. It's just hills. They're like walking in these valleys between hills.
We think it was filmed in the Highlands of Scotland or something.
It's just crazy hilly and rocky.
All right. So,
I would definitely twist my ankle. I want to make it 10 feet.
Right.
So Harry goes for a tumble.
Harry goes for a tumble, falls down. So we have the party completely split up. We have the doctor over here fixing the deals. We have Sarah Jane trying to find the doctor to help Harry. We have Harry down at the bottom.
Always a great idea, right? Mm-hmm. Splitting the party.
Never.
Divide and conquer.
Never a good idea.
More efficiency.
That's the thing. Divide and conquer. They were divided. Now we're going to be conquered. All right. So the doctor hears a scream, and he runs off and finds this guy in a spacesuit.
He's getting run over by a Honda.
Oh, the weird little android thing.
Boop, boop.
Yeah, weird little robot. Chases this guy off a cliff.
When the doctor ran towards the scream, he just left his sonic screwdriver on the bowl.
Yeah.
So we had the two balls in the shaft that's just sitting there.
No.
He leaves without it.
So the doctor goes off, and he had been spied upon by a couple guys in the space suits.
Yeah, we keep seeing like people, like the tail end of people hiding behind rocks.
Right. And so they're like, well, let's let the other guys know. So they go off and let some other people know. And then so they go and they find the doctor standing over the body of this dead guy, our first death. What's his name? The guy who fell off the cliff?
Zeke fell and died, and then Harry and Kranz see the doctor by Zeke, thinking that he killed Zeke. So there's Harry, Zeke, Kranz, Verl, Eric, Roth, Heath, Spleer.
Alright. Okay, so there's three guys.
Two episodes, and there's like 15 characters.
No, not quite that many. Okay, so there's three guys, and they find the doctor.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 characters in 2 episodes. 6 characters per episode.
Right. So there's 3 guys, and they find the doctor standing over the first death.
Zeke, Kranz, and Eric.
Right. And they capture him.
It's like reading the first chapter of Wheel of Time, and it's just like 100 different names.
They're coming out with a TV show for that.
The Wheel of Time's coming out with a TV show?
Yeah.
Live action?
Yeah.
Like the Game of Thrones? Is it on HBO?
No, I think it's going to be on Amazon, and I'm very curious about it.
That makes me skeptical.
I don't know. Supposedly there was going to be an intimacy coach for it, and they want to kind of Game of Thrones it up a little bit. But I don't know. The books have.
What do you mean by intimacy coach?
Intimacy
Sex
coach.
scenes?
Yeah. How to be that close to somebody that you don't know well, and pretend to be intimate with them. That's an intimacy coach.
You do it pretty well.
I know you. All right. But anyway, they're coming out with a TV show. I've got the trailer. I think, like I said, on Amazon Prime.
We have to watch that. I haven't even heard.
We will.
About
I'm.
It's like a teaser or like a full trailer.
It's just it's a 2-minute trailer.
When did they announce that?
A couple months ago, I think.
I always thought, why don't they, make a serial or a movie about the Wheel of Time? Because they do with everything.
Well, true, but okay. There's two problems with the Wheel of Time. One is it's 14 books long.
And the books are 2 books each.
Yeah, the books are super thick. Although to be fair, so about 3 of those books could be condensed down to 2 scenes, 7, 8, and 9, because they're just ridiculous.
Never made it that far.
Yeah, well, it's like, hi. She gets up in the morning. She brushes her teeth. This is how she brushes her teeth. While she's brushing her teeth, she's thinking about this. And let me show you these 6 women in a circle. And I'm going to describe the dress for every single woman. And every single woman has a lower cut bodice than the woman next to her. And we keep going on, and it's 8 pages of nothing.
That's the problem with the Lord of the Rings, though. It's like everything is super detailed. And the sheen on the insignia of his button.
Okay, you did not get to those books in Wheel of Time. That is all 3 of those books are. Yes. Hey, the first 5, 6 books are fantastic.
That's where you can just feel the writer's writer block, where he's like...
Well, you got 3 books where he's trying to figure out what he's doing with everything. Yeah. Then, starting in book 10, he starts wrapping it up pretty well. Oh. And book 11 is good, and then he dies. And books 12, 13, and 14 were written by a better writer.
Wasn't it
not Robert Jordan? It was Sanderson. No.
Oh.
You're thinking Dune.
Dune is...
or Lord of the Rings.
I didn't know Robert Jordan died.
Yeah.
Have you made it all the way through that series?
I've read all 14 books. I own all 14 books in hardback. Perseverance.
How many years did it take you?
Well, I was reading them as they were coming out after the 3rd book. I read the first 2. The 3rd book came out, and then I just kept reading them as they came out.
I didn't know you were such a reader.
Sometimes. It used to be. I'm currently reading the Foundation series. The Foundation trilogy.
That's a normal size book, though.
Yeah, back when sci-fi books were small. And they're coming out with a TV show for that one.
Really?
Or a movie.
Is that an older one? When was
TV
that
show.
written? 70s?
Written in the 40s, 50s,
really?
yeah.
Oh, that's older.
Like I said, when sci-fi books were shorter, by Asimov. And they did the most amazing, you're never going to believe it, thing with the main character. Big twist, never been done before.
M. Night Shyamalan's directing?
No. It was
I guessed this already.
Gender shift from male to female. Look, we swapped it. It's a female. It's a male in the book. But we can't have a male hero, so it's got to be female because all men suck.
Last night.
Something.
No, the first thing I guessed was it's a woman, all right? It's like, how did I know?
Yep, because we can't represent men whatsoever. Except as villains or evil, all good white male heroes must die. That's what Star Wars teaches us. If you're a white male, be a bad guy, because if you're a good guy, you're going to die.
The children aren't present at our list.
No, these videos are marked not for kids.
Are they really?
Yeah. After each of us have dropped an F-bomb in them, these videos are marked not for kids. That was 40 episodes ago.
I never cursed.
You did once.
What was the bad guy in the K9 company? Hecatus?
Hecate or something.
Hecate.
Looks like a Kate, but it's a
It used to be Hecate. But they changed it to Heck because the kids...
Alright.
What were we talking about?
We're talking about Doctor Who in theory. Alright. Okay.
Took a stumble down.
Alright. Party gets divided. Sarah Jane ends up bumping into this guy. who
Roth.
wears the spacesuit. He's very disheveled and looks dirty. He saves Sarah Jane from the weird little Honda robot thing.
At first it looks like he's just attacking her and cups her mouth, but then it's because the Honda Civic comes rolling around the corner.
The robot. I love how they never show the robot moving because there's some guy under it pushing it along in the fields and the heather. So anyway, he saves her from the robot. She asks him who he is. He says, I'm Roth. She goes, what's going on? He's like, look.
He's kind of like a Smeagol Gollum character that's just like post-torture. It messed up his speech patterns where he's like, he can't really... He's kind of high-wired.
You understand it?
Huh?
You understand? Or whatever he says. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a weird caption.
Yeah. Anyway, so she meets Roth. Roth's a good guy. He's part of that spaceship. So what apparently happened is there was a distress signal from Earth because Earth was uninhabited. And this spaceship from one of the colonies came to Earth to investigate. There were 9 of them. They left their spaceship, and then the spaceship blows up. This robot goes out and captures these people and takes them back, and they get tortured and burned by, if you haven't guessed it, a Sontaran, whose name is Stir.
Roth told us that Heath and Spleer have already died and gone missing.
Correct. And there are basically 4. There are 4 of the guys left. The one gets knocked off the cliff, so there's 3 left.
Gets it by the hump.
Right. So
he kind of jumped because he's running away from the robot. Or he like fell by accident, but it kind of gives you the implication he'd rather die or risk his life than to get captured.
Right, but he was trying to go down, I think, in a controlled fashion, and it just didn't work because his momentum was too much.
And he broke his neck from the
yeah.
That's dude.
Right. So the doctor's captured. He gets taken to their base, which is a little camp in front of a cave.
Oh, yeah.
They're there. They're questioning him, and the doctor's like, "Well, hey, I can help you," because they think he is responsible for the disappearances, not the robot and the Sontaran. Right, and they're like, "Well, why'd you kill Zeke? What are you trying to do?" And the doctor's almost playing games with them. I mean,
I should be your
charismatic way. Yeah, I should be your guest because I might even help you.
Because I'm from Nerva. That's like Atlantis. That's a myth.
Oh yeah. They don't believe in Nerva. There's some
because they overslept for so many thousand years. They're like, if that was real, then they would have came back when the Earth was inhabited.
And they haven't come back. And he said, well, they overslept.
Space wasps.
Yeah, he doesn't get into any of the stuff that happened in the last serial, but he kind of gives, they overslept. And he says, I'm here to fix the transmat beams. I'll get you set up. It's all good.
You know everything about clocks? I really like clocks.
Clocks, chronologists
clocks,
and all this other stuff.
Chronologists, cuckoo clocks.
And out of
bakery things.
Okay, so there's a guy that comes and he's the commander. Yerman? Verl. And if by some weird, strange chance my customer Yerman is watching this, sorry, my apologies, because he's the bad guy. He's a bad guy.
You have a Verl that goes to the shop?
No, Yerman.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you called the bad guy?
I said, was it Yerman? Verl. No. But I've got a customer name.
Is that the guy that bought the figurines?
No, it's a different guy.
Huh.
Okay.
He has Verl has this, was the one with the pendant? The weird pendant?
Yeah, he's got a little pendant here. But I was like, that's not human technology.
It's a nanny cam.
Yeah, and the little nanny cam was beaming the signal back to the Sontaran. You see his
potato hands.
His potato hand. It's a Sontaran. If you don't know, you find out pretty soon.
It's like they give you hints for the regulars that watch it.
Yeah. Well,
but then the big reveals.
The name is already,
No.
Okay, so anyway,
I don't know how anyone follows this. It's like one episode per week, right?
Yeah.
And then the next season, they're like, "Hey, these guys are back." And I'm like, "Who? I don't remember." That was a year ago. We talked about the Sontarans. I don't remember that character.
People have better memories than you give them credit.
Then they have better memories than me, for sure.
All right. So anyway, so the doctor's trying to help them. Sarah Jane's trying to rescue the doctor. In the meantime, Harry manages to make it out of the pit that he fell into.
There are rocks that were falling, so he crawls into this crevice to kind of shelter himself.
Right,
and
he finds a way through the crevice to the top. Yeah. So Sarah Jane gets Roth to run by the other guys. They all chase after him.
Do you have a Roth IRA?
No.
We need to fix that. We need to get your retirement funds, self-funded Roth IRA. Tax season.
So they chase after him. So Sarah Jane shows up because the doctor had been not quite hogtied, but he was tied up. And they left the machete, and Sarah Jane uses it to cut the doctor free. And then they leave.
Split. The doctor goes, wait, I forgot my sonic screwdriver.
She says, oh, here it is.
Here it is.
So they go back to this place of death, which happens to be right next to the pit that Harry fell into. The doctor falls into the pit. Yeah. And Tom Baker, when he fell, actually broke or sprained his arm. He injures his arm. I think it broke. And all the scenes after that, the doctor's running around. It's a body double.
They do a great job covering up the fact they're filming him from his left side.
Constantly, because it's his right side, I think, and
it's a close-up whenever it's
right.
him.
And they use a scarf as a sling, which was ingenious. But every time they are filming him, he's got his arms inside his big-ass jacket, and you see his left arm doing everything. And when it's not, it's a body double. And they just shoot a lot of stuff from the back.
Not all the scenes are filmed in order, so like it kind of goes back and forth to him having an okay arm and a sprained arm. So it's I would never have noticed it if Hatter didn't say something.
Right. So anyway, so he injures himself. The actor Tom Baker, as well as the doctor, he's down at the bottom of the pit. Then
Harry, after he finds his way out of the pit, he runs into, I never got his name. I don't know if they ever said his name, but it's this dude that's dehydrated.
Chained up. Well, wait, I think it's next episode.
I think this episode ended when...
Yeah, this episode when the Sontaran was revealed.
Oh, after he breaks his arm when he falls down.
Right. Well, that happens. Then Sarah Jane and Roth at the top get captured by the little Honda robot. It takes them back to the camp of the Sontaran, his ship. Yeah, and then he comes out and he pulls off his helmet and she's like, Lynx. Because she ran into him in the Time Warrior with the Sontaran Lynx.
Perfect.
So, end of episode 1. Alright, episode 2, she's like, Lynx, she's like,
already halfway
you're
done.
Sontaran.
We're on time. We're on schedule. We're already halfway done.
Yeah, this is taking longer than the actual serial. Watch the serial, alright? Alright. Anyway, so, okay, she's like, you're a Sontaran. He says, you've met people of my race, but I'm not the one of which you know.
Lynx.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because you'd think Lynx would be spelled with a Y, like the Lynx cat, but it's not, it's with an I. But you think steer would be spelled with an I, but no, it's spelled with a Y.
There you go.
Well, so I think that Steer stole Lynx's Y and gave him his I.
Right. Alright. So anyway, turns out this Sontaran is here to do experiments on humans. He came to Earth to find humans, didn't find any humans, so he did the distress beacon to get that group down, and it's the Sontaran who blew up their ship, so he could slowly but surely capture them and do all these stress tests on them, so that the Sontaran invasion fleet could invade the area of space controlled by humans, and they would know what their weaknesses are.
Have a weakness to lack of oxygen. They drown. They can be crushed. Guess what? Humans are weak to guns instead.
And if you deny them liquids, they die within 9 days.
If you smash the chest cavity, they die. Wow.
Yeah.
Really thorough.
So in the meantime, Harry finds this guy hanging up on chains like old medieval torture. The guy asks for water. Harry brings him water. Turns out
a rag in like a creek,
yeah. Something. Turns out that this guy was one of the crew members, obviously, and the experiment on him was one of deprivation of water. He ends up dying. Death number 2. The doctor's trying to get out of the pit, trying to get out of that crevice. He's bringing himself up, and it's a little awkward because he's hiding his right arm and he's using his left for everything.
It's like stunt double close up. Stunt double close up.
Yeah, they do that all throughout the rest of the episode 2, because the doctor physically could not do the stuff. He gets up and he's met by Burl. And the other
3
2
of
guys.
them, Verl, Crayons, and Eric.
He's met by them. And then he's like, well, wait, look behind you. And this is the worst spot to be in the entire planet. You fall into the pit, or you fall into the pit, or you get picked up by the robot, or you get picked up by the robot. Yeah. So they get captured. The doctor manages to stay down for the time being. And then they get dragged to the Sontaran. He's like, aha, the last of the merchandise? Or the last of...
Something like that.
Yeah.
He's living in a popcorn kernel thing.
It's a Sontaran
reactor.
ship. Yeah. We've already seen the likes of which in the Time War.
It looks like Gollum from Pokemon.
Oh no, it's one of those hexadomes they used to make back in the 70s.
Kind of looks like
Early 80s.
a Dalek spaceship too, because they have the spherical spaceships that the door comes out a little differently. But it's weird how they prefer spears for space travel. Only the bad guys. Humans are normal. They have regular spaceships.
Yeah, like the TARDIS.
Aerodynamic. What does a TARDIS look like without a chameleon circuit? Is it like a normal spaceship without?
We don't know.
We've never seen a TARDIS not clone.
Right. The chameleon circuit makes it look like its surroundings, which is why later on you'll see the Master's TARDIS with a clock, and we've already seen
it look like the meddling monk having...
The meddling monk's TARDIS look like a pillar. Or
the monastery thing. Sacrifice table.
An altar. Yeah. So
we've seen the Masters look like the carnival bus van.
Yes, and later on we'll see it look like a clock. Yeah, but the fantastic shape we know of...
Coming off the conveyor belt from Gallifrey, they're not just like in their natural state.
We don't know. Never seen it.
What a mystery.
Wait.
Do you think that's something people would be upset about if they find out?
Hold on. I'm slightly wrong.
Oh.
In the 50th anniversary special, Time of the Doctor, you see a weird... Looks like when the first Doctor is about to steal the TARDIS, it looks like a weird cylinder, a gray, about this. It's kind of like this, but it's gray, a little taller, and just a weird looking cylinder. And that's the only time I think we've seen a TARDIS not be in another shape. It's, I guess, original shape.
Here's the thing is, though, it could be a chameleon circuit disguising it as something on Gallifrey, right? Like, that could be something common, like their police box for Gallifrey.
Well, it could be, except it appears that there are several of them, and they
could all be
and they are there for repairs.
Okay.
Which is why the Doctor has so many problems with the TARDIS, because he stole one that was there for repairs. Yeah, it was janky.
He never fixes it.
All right.
It's kind of like the old Chevy that was your first starter car, and you take your girl out on a date and it breaks down. You have to
change the tire or jumpstart, push it down the hill to get it going.
Okay, pop it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Pop the clutch. Okay.
Clutch.
So basically, all right. So anyway, the Doctor.
We never fixed the TARDIS.
Okay. So Sarah Jane is seen by the Sontaran. Oh, the female of the species. So he's experimenting on her, and he puts things in her head. He's experimenting with fear. He's experimenting on how weak she is and all that.
Sarah Jane always gets the worst of it in these past few series.
Currently, yeah, and she's got this little device on her head which lets him put images into her head.
We have the doctor running around. We have Harry doing his thing.
Right.
And then Sarah is just always being tortured or like in a life and death situation.
Right. So the doctor ends up confronting the Sontaran. The Sontaran knocks him away, and then the doctor's running away, and the Sontaran shoots him. Now, the Sontaran has already killed Roth, but with the same gun. We assume the doctor survives because he's a Time Lord and he has better physiology.
But the reality is because...
Oh, yeah. In reality, it's because he had a piece of Nervna?
Beryllium.
Piece of Beryllium in his pocket, which he got from Nervna or whatever.
Did he already shoot the Honda with his...
That's later.
Where did he get the Beryllium from?
From Nerva, or whatever that thing's called.
Oh, I thought he got it from the Sontaran thing.
No, from up there.
Oh.
So he's like, so it's the whole idea of the Bible in your breast pocket or the flask or whatever, stopping the bullet.
So we had Harry, right? He finds out that the nameless guy died of dehydration.
Yeah. So he sees Sarah chained up, the doctor lying on the ground. And this guy died of dehydration, and he's like...
So Harry's on a campaign of vengeance.
He grabs a staff. He's about to go after the Sontaran. I mean, good for you, Harry.
Love Harry.
And the doctor stops him, because the doctor ends up being alive, not dead.
After Harry overhears the Sontaran's brutal experiments of...
And he was about to whack the Sontaran off on the back of the head with a staff, which would have been perfect because of that...
Well, it wouldn't do anything if he hit it there, but if he hit it...
If he hit where that deal was,
But he probably wouldn't, because that's like, it looks like an armored thing, so... It's good that the doctor stopped him, because he probably would have...
So the doctor saves Sarah from the force field, because she had a force field surrounding her as well.
That's why Harry couldn't get to her.
Right. Harry couldn't get to her.
That's where he got the Beryllium. He melted the force field thing, and the plate fell off, and he put the plate in his pocket.
No, he got it from Nerva, or whatever it's called.
I disagree.
He said that.
Did he?
Would you care to make a wager, sir? I think you still owe me popcorn.
I'm like 0 for 3 at this point.
I know my Doctor Who. Anyway, so...
What do you want to bet?
Alright, so... the 3 captured guys, last 3 guys from the ship, the Sontaran is doing an experiment on them to see how much weight they can hold up, because he's got the 2 guys across from each other holding up a gravity bar, and he's got the traitor, the leader among them, down below chained to a rock, and he's like,
the traitor?
Yeah, that was what's his name?
Verl.
And he's like, amazing, I've turned up to 500 pounds, and you're still trying to protect this guy, even though he was a traitor and turned you in, and they're still trying to hold the bar and save him.
To his credit, these guys are fairly... He turns out to 600 total, I think, so they're both on like 300
pounds, and they're doing their darndest to keep it from killing Ural.
Strong guys.
Verl. And they do their darndest to keep it, and he's like, why? And then the doctor shows up and says, okay, I challenge you. Armed combat. I've got a staff, and the guy's like, okay. I've got a gun. He says, really? A Sontaran warrior hiding behind a gun. Yeah, that's not the end of your species. So he throws away the gun, grabs the machete. Machete.
You ever watch Machete?
Yeah.
You like it?
It's okay.
The machine guns that come out of the Bronx.
Yeah, it was okay.
Did y'all watch it for Bad Movie Night?
Listen, I watch it.
Oh.
Because she liked it. She likes Quentin Tarantino. I generally don't. But anyway, so the doctor challenges him, and there's a whole bunch of a fight scene where you just see the back of the doctor because it's a body double. Because the doctor's arm was broken, he couldn't do anything. Tom Baker's arm was broken. Finally, the doctor, he's not trying to necessarily beat the Sontaran. He's trying to wear down the Sontaran so the Sontaran goes back to his ship to get energy through that tube. And he eventually manages to do this. In the meantime, Sarah Jane and Harry release the prisoners, and Harry goes to the ship and removes a device. The doctor told him to.
Converter
Thingy, yeah.
Polarity.
The doctor gave him his sonic screwdriver so he could get in. And Harry removes that device.
You pull down the foreskin on the sonic screwdriver to open it.
Alright, so...
That's really the only switch on it. It does a lot of different things.
Currently, yeah. Later it does more. But anyway, so... Alright, so right towards the end of the duel between the Doctor and Stir, the Doctor says, well, you're running out of energy, I can beat you. Stir says no, throws him aside, and then Stir's about to hit him and is jumped by, what's his face? Virl. And he's jumped on by Virl now that he's been freed, and the Sontaran casts him aside. Yeah, just casts him aside. And then the Sontaran goes into a ship to recharge. But since that device was removed,
polarity was reversed. And instead of feeding on pure energy as the Sontarans do, the energy fed on him because he didn't have that catalytic converter.
Basically correct.
What's the thing in the DeLorean?
Oh, the flux capacitor.
Took the flux capacitor out of his DeLorean. So.
It was a much larger device, but yeah. So the
He's like, is this the right thing? And the doctor says, I hope so.
So
and his potato wilts is
potato head all goes.
Very violent serial for 2 episodes. Not necessarily because of the death count, just because of the subject matter is people being tortured. And
so it was like, okay, and then Harry says, hey, Virl died saving your life, and the doctor's like, oh, okay. So there's 2 survivors, and our trio, the Doctor and the 2 companions, they go back to the circle of spheres, the transmat beam receptor, and he's like, okay, I think we're good and we're done, and we're going to go back up to Nerva, or whatever. Do you want to come with us? And they're like, no, we'll wait. They stay there.
Kranz and Eric.
Right. And then the Doctor...
They kind of seem like Germanic names.
Oh, yeah.
Very harsh cuz and cactus.
And so the Doctor and Harry and Sarah supposedly being back up to Nerva.
Supposedly. Oh, bum bum bum.
Don't
Next time. Genesis of the Daleks.
Yes. The Time Lords intercepted the transmat beam.
That's not the first time they've done that. Well, they've intercepted the TARDIS before,
They have done that, and they've shown up, but they've never intercepted a transmat beam before. All right.
Different forms of travel.
Correct. Okay.
Can't Time Lords? At some point, we've seen technology to where they can just instantly teleport. Like the Doctor's old school friend when the Master first shows up and he beams in.
Yeah, that's cool.
He doesn't have a TARDIS.
We don't see that again.
He just has a portable TARDIS he gives him.
We don't see that again, ever.
Just like Mary Poppins comes in and comes out.
I'm Mary Poppins. Right, wanna go use the restroom?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
You talk about your stuff? Yes, Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'll be back in a minute.
Was Ego not a great villain? So he's the planet that's like sentient planet. I don't know if you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2. But spoiler, I don't know. Marvel movies oftentimes are hit and miss, but Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we had the bad guy Ego, and he's a bad dude because he's trying to find an offspring that doesn't kill his mate or whatever. So he goes to Earth and he has the baby, which turns out to be Will. And then he always kills the moms, which is really brutal, and he gave her a brain tumor or something. And then they find out that Ego, Will's dad, is a bad guy, and then he just has a cave full of bones where he's just mated with all these different species. It's really terrible. But it comes full circle because when they're fighting him as a planet, they go into where his brain is and they put the bomb there. So it's kind of poetic how he killed Will's mom with a brain tumor. They put a bomb in his brain. I don't know. That's just something I noticed that I thought was neat. Anyway, so yeah, the Sontaran dies. I don't know if we talked about this, but the reason the Sontaran was there doing the experiments on humanities, while they're discovering their weakness, is basically because they had this entire invading fleet just waiting to attack all the Earth colonies. But they're very systematic with how they conduct warfare. So that's why they're studying the weaknesses of humans. They're doing their experiments. So Steer was in communication a couple of different times with, they just called him Marshall, is another Sontaran, I guess the invading fleet general or whatever. And they're like, are you finished with your experiments? We have to invade. And he's like, almost done. I keep being interrupted, yada, yada, yada. And that interaction ends with Marshall calling in for a third time, and it's the doctor who answers. He's like, where's Steer? And he's like, he's dead. And then there's this kind of mental gambit of, well, we're going to annihilate all humans. He's like, without having finished your experiments, you don't know humanity's weakness. And we, now that we've intercepted your invasion plans, we're ready to annihilate you once you pass over that buffer. And he's like, I don't believe you. I don't believe that you have, any sort of weapons to it. And then, well, anyway, he basically, the doctor, as he does, talks his way out of this situation. And then, earlier, the scene before that, welcome back.
Hey, what are we talking about?
Guardians of the Galaxy, mostly.
So
I was filling in a few blanks, I think, we forgot to mention about the...
Welcome to the least watched show on the internet, people.
The most watched show. The most popular internet. The death of cable television is what this is.
This is kind of like an old school public access show. Okay,
Yes. We should have a public access show.
That's essentially what we have right here.
I'm going to write a letter to PBS.
That's essentially what literally we have right here. Okay.
I think more people watch public access television.
Probably.
Maybe one or two more.
Okay. Anyway, so what questions do you have about the Sontaran Experiment?
Devolved ones, regressors, balls, broken arm. I wrote down, what are Routons? Because they mentioned that the Sontarans had just finished a war with the Routons.
It's a race that they're fighting an eternal war with.
Yeah.
And
like a civil war? Like these were two different species that cohabited or something?
No, two different species that just clashed in their attempt to rule the galaxy.
Oh, okay.
And we see the Sontarans a lot of times, but we've only seen the Routons once.
One time. Not yet, though.
Not yet. Coming soon. Tom Baker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The Croutons. We've seen the Croutons before. Crotons.
Crotons. This is the Routons.
Are they ruder than the Crotons?
Oh, man.
One of those. That would lead you to believe that the Sontarans are also going to clash with the Daleks at some point.
They work together eventually.
I'm sure that goes swimmingly. And no one backstabs anyone. It's kind of like where all the Batman villains team up to take out Batman. You're like, oh no, I'm afraid for Batman, because how is he going to... But then they all just kind of end up turning on themselves.
Evil
devours
evil. I think it's...
It's one of those.
It's one. Okay, it's literally one of the Fourth Doctors coming up. I just can't remember the name of the serial. It's set in a lighthouse, though.
The White House.
Lighthouse.
Oh. Do we have an episode set in the White House?
Actually, we do with the 11th Doctor.
Hey!
Part of it is set in the White House during the Nixon administration.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Who does Nixon remind you of? Boss NASA from Star Wars Episode 1, right?
Wait, who?
The leader of the... Who's Jar Jar Binks' race?
Okay. No, Nixon
That's
is
basically
not reminding
Nixon.
of him. No.
I'm sure the boss NASA was inspired by Nixon.
No.
It's basically how they talk.
Okay, that one particular mannerism, possibly,
not a
but that guy was,
with the big goiter.
Right, but
He was kind of also modeled after, who wrote Star Wars?
George Lucas.
George Lucas with the big goiter. You're like, let's take Nixon and George Lucas and boss NASA. Mesa being friends.
You know, George Lucas did episodes 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah, he has a big goiter. Doesn't
I
he
don't
look like
think
boss
he would do
NASA?
that to himself. Okay. Oh my gosh. All right. Any other questions?
What's your best George Lucas impression?
Hi, George Lucas.
George
The odds of him actually watching this show would be negligible.
So we talked about the Routons,
Yeah.
the very dark episode, mature subject matter. Why it was a two-parter, we talked about that.
Yep.
Next time, the Genesis of the Daleks. I didn't have very many notes, but
Well, it's only 2 episodes.
we haven't talked about K9 and Company yet, really. We
Yes.
have.
So that.
We really talked about all there is to talk about with K9 and Company. I specifically did not take notes on K9 and Company.
Okay. Let's see. Was it Nightmare V?
Are you still looking for the croutons?
The Routons. Oh! The Horror of Fang Rock. That's it.
The Horror of Fang Rock.
Horror of Fang Rock.
The Horror of Fang Rock.
Which is season 15.
So we got
3 seasons from now.
Yeah.
So we finally see them. We finally see the Routons in the Horror of Fang Rock.
Interesting.
All right.
Do they
K9 and Company.
Do they have roots?
No, it's not like it's more like an acidic slime
Ah, interesting.
from D&D. All right.
Destroy target artifact.
All right. K9 and Company, girl's best friend.
You want to do the recap? I'm going to get a recap.
You do that. Okay. This was the very first
This way,
spin-off of Doctor Who.
Only you can distract you. You don't
Yeah.
have anyone else to blame.
All right. Stay out there for like 10 minutes. Use the restroom. All right.
Whenever I do that, I stay out there. I'm like, he's got to be done with the recap by now, and I come back and you're like, okay, now episode 2. It's like,
Only 1 episode. All right. K9 and Company, a girl's best friend, was the very first spin-off of Doctor Who. It was a pilot. It was meant to be the beginning of the show, but the show wasn't picked up for a full run, so we just have the pilot. It's like the worst intro to a Doctor Who show ever, but the episode's pretty decent. It reminds you a lot of Stones of Blood or the Daemons, in the fact that it uses witchcraft as a main motivator. So anyway, Sarah Jane Smith is going to her aunt's house, that same aunt that she kind of stole the credentials from to get into the house in the Time Warrior where she met the Third Doctor. She used her aunt's credentials. Same aunt. She apparently is a massively well-known and intelligent scientist, the aunt, and really well off. This is where Sarah Jane Smith gets some of the money to do some of the stuff she wants to do. This aunt lives in an incredibly nice manor out in the countryside. Sarah Jane Smith is going to stay there a while she works on a book. We don't know about the book. Apparently that would have been gotten into should the show have been picked up. The pilot had been picked up for a full show, but it was not. And she's meeting her aunt's ward, which is a nephew, I'm guessing from from a different brother or sister of that aunt's, because otherwise Sarah Jane would have known him more. Anyway, so this is the kid, and he comes to stay. But the aunt had to leave a month earlier than she expected So Sarah Jane shows up. The kid says, "Hey, I got tired of waiting. Can you come pick me up? I'm at the train station." So Sarah Jane goes to get him. So Sarah Jane is in this giant, amazing looking manor. And there's a crate waiting for her. And the crate was apparently sent by the doctor some many years ago. So Sarah Jane Smith opens up the crate with the help of the young lad, and K9's inside. Now, on this show, we haven't much discussed K9 because he hasn't entered yet. And we're doing this a little bit out of order. This episode aired in 1981, in between the 4th and 5th Doctors. But we're doing it now because, once again, it was a 2-part episode tonight, and it's the last 2-part episode for a long time. And we can either watch this on a night of its own for 45 minutes and then watch 45 minutes tonight, or we can combine them. So it made sense to combine them. So Sarah Jane Smith finally meets K9. K9 says, "Hey, I'm K9 Mark III. Yay." Sarah Jane Smith and the boy meet K9, talk to K9. Man, I can't remember the kid's name. Anyway, the kid knows about the technology that goes into K9, and K9 keeps saying affirmative, and Sarah Jane Smith's like, "I don't know, but okay, sure, all this nuclear powered batteries, rechargeable, etc., etc." Anyway, there's a few creepy people. Business partner of Sarah Jane Smith's aunt, and see, there you go. Business partner of Sarah Jane Smith's aunt, the groundskeeper. What was his name?
I didn't take any notes.
Oh, and the groundskeeper. Wait, what was the kid's name? Bernard? Something like that.
No, it was Brandon. Which kid? The one in the leather jacket, or
No.
nephew?
Yeah, the nephew.
We kind of see Sarah Jane Smith aged a little bit. Like, what, 10 years? 5 years? She's more mature. The first time we meet Sarah Jane Smith with Pertwee, she's a very young and
ingenuistic.
Yeah. We use that word a lot, so that was the first word that came to mind. But
right.
But she's like fresh-faced out of high school, starting her career with the newspaper. Now we see her in K9 and Company. No longer works with the paper, writing her own book.
She was overseas working for Reuters, which is.
But we see her go from this young character to I don't want to be a surrogate mother, and
right.
She's a lot more mature age.
Right. Well, she aged approximately.
Not like physically aged. I just mean like.
Maturity-wise too.
Oh,
but she aged like 6-7 years.
Good news. After 4 to 6 months, YouTube finally released a copyright claim on my video.
On what video?
It's I do covers of songs and like retro Game Boy 8-bit music.
Really?
Yeah, it just as a hobby for fun, like I do.
Well, like we do this.
Yeah, I just think it's fun.
Okay.
But they always get copyright claims, and I'm like, I wonder how long it takes to get this. It's just like they have this thing that automatically copyrights claims, even though it's not. You have fair rights, and I have a license to do covers for these songs. So I go through this website, and I'm like...
To a point, you have to pay somebody to do direct
Well, that's
covers.
how the cover licensing works, is they get... I think it's 50% of the ad revenue on YouTube. Is through this website. It's basically, they have a cover license that they're allowed to rent to you or something. But anyway, I'm like, so I have the cover license, so I am allowed 50% of the ad revenue of the video, but they always copyright claim it anyway, so you see no ad revenue. I'm like, I wonder how long it would, but I don't really care because I just do it for fun as a hobby. So I'm like, I wonder how long it would take to actually go through the legal process of claiming this as my own video. And then, well, here we are 4 to 6 months later, and it's just now released. They're like, okay, yeah, you can have this video. You did everything right. It's like, I know I did.
Okay. All right. So Sarah Jane's in the manor with K9 and the kid. Sarah Jane ends up.
Get it? K9, like K.
Yeah, K9, CANINE,
No,
but it's K9 on the side of the
Brandon
dog.
guffawed at that.
Yeah, and yeah, he did.
What is it that K9 said about curiosity is the oblivion of the feline species?
Yes, that's exactly what he said. But it's also the initiative of all human knowledge, you know? The oblivion of the feline species. All right,
It's
anyway.
like K9's that nerdy kid in your high school that reads too many books and they like using a big vocabulary.
And I still haven't found Walter's cookie jar.
I don't get that reference.
It's an incredibly obscure comic reference.
Huh?
That
Archie comics?
no. Oh my gosh, Knights of the Round Table. Or no, Knights of the Dinner Table. There's a there's a comic book about gamers.
Every time
called
you
Knights
pause,
of the
we're
Round
just
Table.
going a layer deeper and a layer deeper.
Right. So there's a game
Okay,
called Knights of the Dinner Table, and it's about people role playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the back of that comic book is a strip. I don't remember what it's called, but it's about like muskrats or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the muskrats goes to a U2 concert.
Mm-hmm.
And the song being played, I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I love this song. And he sings, I still haven't found Walter's cookie jar. And it's
he's
just,
a muskrat.
yeah, and I love that line. And every time that song comes on, I sing that lyric instead of the proper lyrics. It's so funny.
So that's just a reference you make for yourself? Like there's no
From that comic, yes.
possibility that anyone would understand that.
Well, if they've ever read the comic, they might understand it. But it's a really obscure comic in the back of an obscure comic book. Not even the main comic, you know, but, you know, it is what it is. But I like it. Anyway. So,
I'll play some lyrics.
alright. So anyway, Sarah Jane Smith, the kid, and K9 are in the house.
It's like a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah, thanks.
What?
It is always.
I just got back.
Yeah. You got us off track 8 times talking about 2 episodes.
It's just 2 episodes. We should be done.
Just watch it. You'll get a better viewing. Okay, seriously.
Where do people even go to buy these? It's not. You can't even buy K9 by itself. It's a special feature and a different.
Right. Now most of so the DVDs, a lot of them are out of print, but they've been coming out with the Blu-ray box sets.
So it's like you doing a bad review of a bad movie. And you're like, just go watch the movie, and they're like, how?
I don't have a VCR anymore. What, Betamax? What?
It's not on any streaming service.
Laserdisc? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I've owned all of these systems. Alright, so
Betamax? You have Betamax?
I did not own a Betamax player, but I owned several videos on Betamax.
How did you watch them? Did they also play
on somebody else's player?
Okay.
I owned Duran Duran's Arena on Betamax. I owned 300 Laserdiscs, and I had a Laserdisc player.
Did you ever buy into the HD DVDs?
No, I did
That's
not.
good.
I waited for the
You
Blu-ray.
dodged a bullet.
One of 100. I got hit with the other 99.
Who would think that the Blu-ray would beat out HD DVD?
Well, Sony...
Because everyone already knew what DVD was. Everyone owned DVD. And then they knew HD was high definition, so it's just HD DVD. They're like, oh, that makes sense.
Because Sony
But
learned...
no.
Sony learned a lesson from the fight with VHS and Betamax. Betamax was better, and it supposedly is still used in TV stations.
Interesting.
But VHS said, hey, Sony was like, no, you can't use our system. VHS said, yeah, anybody can use our system. And so it became universal. Sony learned from that, and when Blu-ray came around, they did the Blu-ray. They said anybody can use Blu-ray, so it beat out HD DVD.
PS3 had the Blu-ray player, and they didn't license it to the 360. So you couldn't watch Blu-rays on your 360. It had to be a DVD. But then they came out with PS4 and Xbox One, and then everyone was surprised that they licensed the Blu-ray player to Xbox. So the Xbox Ones can play Blu-rays. It's just good business, though.
It is. It is. Yeah. Universal compatibility is good business.
Tenet. What's the bad guy's name in Pirates of the Caribbean? 3. When he just goes, it's just good business, and he's in shock, and his ship's blowing up. Like, what do we do? What do we do? It's just good business, and then everyone's a bail. It starts with a T.
Don't remember. Okay.
Those are good movies, by the way.
They're fantastic movies.
The first 3.
Yeah, it goes downhill after that, yeah.
4 was okay. 5 was awful. 6 was not quite as good as 4.
Alright, so anyway, Sarah Jane Smith, the boy, and K-9 are at the manor. And
it's like the first 10 minutes were
Okay. Anyway, witchcraft, things happen, who cares? Alright.
Lasers.
K-9 shows up, shoots people with lasers. They're having a witchcraft thing for Hecate or whatever.
Hecate, but Hecate because the kids were watching. It was the telegraph lady the whole time. It reminded us of Damon's. Actually, a really good episode. I don't know why it didn't get picked up. Probably because it had a really bad intro theme.
Well, and human sacrifice on a kids show.
Like that's any worse than the Sontaran Experiment.
But Doctor Who, oh my gosh, no. Doctor Who, it's still classified as a kids show.
Yeah. Okay,
the moment it goes to a family show, I will tell you. But we're not there yet. It is still classified as a kids show, yeah.
That's the difference between like G and PG.
PG-13 maybe?
I was really surprised when they started putting F words in PG-13 movies.
You get one.
And then you watch
get exactly one.
Exactly one. And then Marley and Me is PG, and that should be at least PG-13.
Marley and Me?
Yeah. With the dog movie with Owen Wilson and I think it's Owen Wilson and Jennifer Aniston.
I haven't seen it.
There's like sex scenes in the movie.
Okay.
You're like, this is PG.
Back before PG-13, you would get tits in PG movies.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
Airplane and occasionally Bush. Yeah. Every once in a long while you get Bush. But mostly tits.
Wait, you ever watch Waiting?
The movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Bush. The president?
That's not what you're talking about. But anyway, no, there's a movie with Kelly LeBrock where it's PG, but she shows her bush.
Because they didn't have a PG-13.
Correct.
And you couldn't show that in a PG-13 movie anyway. No.
Not anymore. Not after the nip slip back in the Super Bowl.
Jackson. What's her name? Janet Jackson?
Janet Jackson, yeah. After that, everything went super conservative.
Ramen hair, Backstreet Boy.
What's his name?
Backstreet Boy with the ramen hair.
No, he's in a movie. He's in Southland Tales.
He's in a couple of movies.
Right, but Southland Tales, good movie. Have you seen that?
I don't think so.
Is it on the list?
No.
Oh my gosh, put on the list. Oh my god. Like 6 movies today. We're gonna spend the next 6 years catching a movie.
I lost the pin. I'm sure there's like 5 pins in this couch.
Probably. Alright.
Ghostland Tales.
No, Southland Tales.
Southland Tales. Northland Tales. Westland Tales. I ran out of room. I don't have any room on the list anymore.
You know, I've got like more pads over there, right? We need
to knock some of these off.
Piece of paper.
I just don't want a 2-page movie list.
Right, we do need to knock some off. What is that kid's name? I can't remember.
Brennan.
Anyway, so stuff happens. People worshiping, witches worshiping Hecate. Yeah. Sarah Jane Smith and K9 show up. Stop it. People get shot by K9. The sacrifice doesn't happen. Yay! A whole bunch of people go to jail. The kid's saved. I still don't know his name. All right. Anyway, good episode. Wish they would have picked it up. They didn't.
It's NSYNC, not Backstreet Boys.
NSYNC. What's his name? Wait, why do you have your phone?
Because they unbanned my YouTube video. I got an email.
Alright, what's that guy's name?
Justin Timberlake.
Yes, and he is in Southland Tales. Do you believe?
Top camera. Do I believe?
Do you bleed? It's a line from Southland Tales from Justin Timberlake.
That's a line from Batman vs. Superman.
Haven't seen it. Don't want to see it. No,
Shouldn't.
we're not into any of those.
Because Superman's.
And he sings a great rendition of
You.
I have soul, but I'm not a soldier.
My fire. The one. That's Backstreet Boys.
Okay. Anyway.
Do you know what Justin Timberlake named his last album? It was
Timberlake?
Future Sex Sounds or something. Futuristic Sex Sounds was the name of one of his most recent albums.
Okay.
Right?
Any questions about K9
when K9 comes back, he will be back.
Okay.
And he finally gets his own TV show.
He does. He eventually gets his own TV show in Australia, one season. Well,
only in Australia.
Not BBC produced. But we will watch it.
So it's not canon?
It's not been declared not canon by the BBC. Only one ever
But
has.
you said if it's not BBC, it's not canon. Like that's
I did not say that.
You did say that.
Okay, I can't remember if I said that or not. But no.
BBC is
there are several things that are... But nothing has been declared not canon except for Scream of the Chakra.
And all of these...
No, those are third-party produced, but they've not been declared as not canon.
They're not canon because they're not BBC, though.
I don't think I ever said that. Okay.
Do we ever see any references to the third-party stuff in the actual BBC documentary?
I don't know. I haven't watched most of the third-party stuff yet.
You haven't?
No.
Why?
I'll be watching most of it with you and Lissa.
Oh, you haven't watched any with me.
Well, not yet, but I've watched some with Lissa.
Oh, I didn't know that. It's gonna be a first for both of us.
Yes, it will be actually.
That's a first.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you have any questions about K9?
Okay. Not only that. Okay, so I have none. Do you have any?
No.
Okay. Anyway, so fun
I
times.
thought I'd do a role reversal. Or role play. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so. Hopefully, okay, so next cereal is Genesis of the Daleks. Fantastic cereal.
Super excited.
One of the best, if not the best, Tom Baker cereal. In his very first season.
It would be the best overall because Tom Baker's your favorite.
He's
so your
my
favorite
absolute
doctor's
favorite,
favorite cereal would be your most favorite cereal of all time, right?
Probably. I'd have to think about that actually. But
next week, Hatter's favorite cereal of all time. 6 episodes.
Okay, well, I have to think about that, but yeah, it's fantastic. 6 episodes. Anyway, so, and we get to meet a new villain.
The Daleks.
No.
Oh.
We're meeting the Daleks, but we
The
get to meet
Master.
a new villain. Davros.
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 Is that French?
Anyway,
European.
okay, so hold on. So
do we have anything to vote on this week?
No.
Or we're actually all caught up with her.
We're so caught up with the voting.
Awesome.
Hold on.
Did we talk about our last movie? Sorry, go ahead.
Which
Finish
one?
I don't know. What's the last movie we watched?
Yeah.
We did talk about it.
Yeah.
What did we watch? It was last week, right?
Yeah. Wait.
History of the World Part 1. Yeah, we...
No, that's been, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago.
Oh. Did we watch something last week? We didn't do a regular Doctor Who last week, did we?
No, we did Heroes and Villains.
Yeah, because we watched a movie.
What movie?
I thought it was History of the World Part 1.
No, we already talked about that.
In the Heroes and Villains, I think, yeah.
Did we talk about it in Heroes and
I
Villains?
think so. Or I think we were about to, and you said we'll talk about it in the podcast.
Okay, what did you think of History of the World Part 1?
I liked it a lot. Can't wait for Part 2.
There's no Part 2.
There will be, maybe.
Mel Brooks is like really old. He's like 96.
It's possible.
It is possible.
It's not possible.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Maybe once he dies, the licensing will be freed up, and then
no.
Part 2.
His son writes good novels, but I don't think anything's
He
going to
doesn't
happen.
have the comedic chops of his dad.
Correct. Hardly anyone has the comedic chops of his
That's a
dad.
good point.
Alright, so we love History of the World Part 1.
It's really good.
I've seen it since I was a kid.
Well, The Life of Brian is on Netflix now.
I've shown that to you, right?
Yeah.
Great movie.
Great movie.
History of the World Part 1. Great movie. A lot of fun.
Getting through all the Terry Gilliam films.
Slowly but
What
surely.
was the last Terry Gilliam we watched?
Wait, I showed you Jabberwocky last week, right?
Jabberwocky,
That's
what we
it!
watched.
Not History of the World. Jabberwocky. Beware the Jabberwock, my son. What did you think of Jabberwocky?
It had had a happy ending, whether the main character wanted it or not. Which is, I like it. He didn't get what he wanted, but he got what he deserved. In a good way. Because he was sick.
Yeah.
He was pining after the girl that was no good.
I can't stand her character at all.
I think that's the point of the character.
Exactly, yeah.
It did such a good
Disgusting,
job.
repulsive.
But he got the princess, and he didn't even want her.
No.
He was the
He
prince.
got half the kingdom. He didn't
He
want.
became the prince that he didn't want.
It's an anti-Cinderella story.
Yeah, which is good. It had a happy ending. A whole kingdom. Well, he got half of a kingdom that's falling apart, so I don't know.
Right, that's what we watched, Jabberwocky.
This is a really good movie. It had some Monty Python characters in it.
Mm-hmm.
At least
and
one.
Terry Jones.
It had Terry Gilliam in it, and
Terry
his
Gilliam.
brother, right?
Terry Gilliam.
And his brother Terry.
No, it's
Nation.
not his brother. No,
Terry
Nation. no, Terry Gilliam, and the protagonist was Michael Palin. Palin.
There was another Terry in it somewhere.
Possibly, I don't know. But several of Terry Gilliam's movies have had other Pythonians, such as John Cleese or Terry Jones in the same movie, etc. But yeah,
It's a good movie. I like it a lot. We're almost out of Terry Gilliam movies now.
we're getting there. Yeah.
Well, he doesn't make a whole lot of movies like Jabberwocky. That's kind of a departure of his normal style.
Well, it was his original movie.
It's a very funny, kind of Monty Python-esque movie, which seems like what he did with his earlier works. You can see the precursors of some of the scenes in that lead into his kind of like his Time Bandits.
Well, that's
feel.
the second movie, yeah.
Yeah, and then he gets less and less comedic as he makes other movies. To where at some point you end up with Tideland for some reason, which is just horrible.
Oof. Not horrible.
You just you can see his childish spirit die, and he just gets darker and darker. What's his most recent movie? Do you
The
think one
Zero
after?
Theorem.
Is that
No, wait.
Is
No.
that dark? Was Tideland not his most recent?
No. There's Zero Theorem, and there's one after that. Which I have, which is The Man Who Killed Don Quixote.
Didn't he make a Don Quixote? No. He made a movie that's like Don Quixote.
No, but The Man Who Killed Don Quixote is that movie, and
What was the other movie he made with the Don Quixote-esque character with the
The Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
Baron Munchausen. Yeah.
The character's not Don Quixote.
Well,
Maybe.
It's kind of like mixed reality where it didn't happen, but it did happen, and he's...
Yeah, but that's Terry Gilliam style.
I like that movie. I like Baron Munchausen.
Baron Munchausen is one of my favorites.
So that's one of the happier movies.
Yeah. So The Man Who Killed Don Quixote, we'll get to. It has Adam Driver in it.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually like him as an actor. I think he's a good actor. I didn't like him in Star Wars, but that's not really... I don't blame him for that. It's the writing.
It's Star Wars, yeah.
But Adam Driver is a good actor.
You remember Jonathan Pryce from Brazil?
Yeah. He's the main character, right?
Yeah, he's the protagonist from Brazil. He's also in The Man Who Killed Don Quixote.
Really? He's
Yeah.
getting old.
Yeah. He is older than that.
How old is Terry Gilliam at this point?
76.
Ah. Is he done directing? He's done with movies now?
We don't know.
What was the last one he made? That's like
The Man Who Killed Don Quixote.
2014?
No, it's 2019, I think.
No. So he's still in his 70s when he made that.
Yeah. I don't know if
So
he
he's
has
still
any more
chugging.
films in him. Most people keep working... Right. Most producers or directors keep working about till they die.
Because it's not a job, it's a passion, right?
Exactly. Alright. Cool.
Thanks for watching.
Anything else? Thanks for watching. We're done and done for.
I think we've wrapped up on everything we missed in the past 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, okay.
Off topics.
Alright, we will see you next week. Genesis of the Daleks.
Hatter's favorite cereal of all time, supposedly.
I've got to think about that. One of my favorite shows of all time.
Watch it again, and then I'll ask you what your favorite cereal is.
Oh, it's so good. I don't want to overhype it for, but it's so.
I'm already hyped. I've been hyped since like season 1 of Doctor Who for Genesis of the Daleks. Season 1 we watched. What was the first Daleks?
The Daleks.
The Daleks. And
Yeah.
you told me about Genesis of the Daleks. And we watched
Yeah,
them.
probably. Yeah.
I've been hyped for this cereal ever since then, like 3 years ago.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.